Excellencies, ministers, ladies and gentlemen, friends of the Arab world. I'm Børge Brende, President of the World Economic Forum. It's a distinct honor for me to introduce two excellencies here, two very important foreign ministers and also former colleagues from the region, from the Arab world. As we know, we have a lot of challenges, but also opportunities in the Arab world. We have Foreign Minister of Tunisia. We know that Tunisia is a country with great aspirations, also great opportunities. Sheikh Mohammed, Foreign Minister and Deputy Prime Minister of Qatar. Qatar being one of the most prosperous countries in the world. And we know that both of the countries do have challenges in the region, but what this World Economic Forum meeting is all about is to look at challenges and obstacles, but also try to find common ground and solutions. So I think this session, also with the most distinct and experienced moderator, Jean-Marie, will get us deeper into the region, but also we will see what kind of opportunities is there to break the current impulses in the region. Floor is yours. Thank you and welcome to this very important session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, I think we all want this moment to be a moment of opportunity. There has been the fight against the Islamic State. That fight seems to be now winding down. But we know that terrorist organizations, they prosper on conflict and differences. And so it's really a critical moment for the Arab world to shape a common vision. But at the same time, we know that the Arab world has its own serious divisions at the moment. And finding a path to overcome those divisions, to find a cooperative, common vision to address common challenges. And we know the challenges are numerous. It's not just terrorism, it's youth that needs jobs, it's to be an economic powerhouse. There are lots of things that need to be done, and those things won't happen in the midst of political crisis. So to address that, as Minister Brende just said, we have two very distinguished ministers, and I will first give the floor to Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Sheikh Al-Thani to give us his vision from Qatar. Then we'll have a conversation, and then Minister Jinawi, and then we'll have a short conversation, the three of us, and then we'll open to the room.
Sure. Thank you very much, Jean-Marie. I'm really glad to be here today and to be presented in the World Economic Forum. And I would like to thank my dear friend Børge. When we worked together a lot when he was the Foreign Minister of Norway. And Norway is a well-known country that promotes peace and security and stability, not in their region, but also in our region, where we work together in different areas, mainly in Afghanistan and Somalia. And it was a great partnership which we are aiming to continue between the state of Qatar and Norway. And also, I'm really honored to be here with my colleague, Mr. Khamis Jinawi, the Foreign Minister of Tunisia, which represent a great example in our region, which represent, we believe, hope for the Arab world and for the Arab youth. You have been mentioning here, John, about ISIS and the post-ISIS era, and we believe this is a very important moment for all of us to understand, first of all, that we have done a tremendous job when we defeated ISIS militarily, and it's about to be defeated. But what's next? We have to look at the root causes of ISIS and how they nurtured, and we want to stop this cycle of violence and stop the cycle of breeding of a new terrorist and a new violent extremist. We see that that ISIS and other violent extremist group, normally they grow in area with political turmoil, social vacuum, political turmoil, the social disintegration, and economic problem and poverty. And if we are going just to look at the security aspect of those groups, we are going to come out of this crisis maybe without terrorism just for a short period of time, but we are going to have another group which will be more and more brutal than ISIS. And let us not forget that ISIS is the evolution of Al-Qaeda, which was in Iraq. ISIS didn't start from Syria. ISIS started in Iraq because of the political vacuum, because of the marginalization of certain categories. And then they found a perfect place for them to nurture in Syria after the chaos being created by the regime in the face of the rebels. So we see that we need to look at the terrorism from two main angles. One is the ideology, which is important, and we believe it's when we are talking about text and we are talking about the capability of those people using this ideology to mobilize resources and to recruit people is something unprecedented, never happened before, maybe because of the new technology. But also there is another aspect which is very important, is the vacuum of state. And the vacuum of state in fulfilling its role politically, socially, or economically. There is no country has a chance or opportunity for those terrorist groups to grow while they are considering all their citizens equally based on their citizenship. There is a social, if there is a social cohesion, integration, and not discriminating a certain category of their own people, then we are not going to find this breeding ground for terrorists. When we provide hope for the young people and we provide them with jobs, we provide them with proper education, it means that those people are going to be engaged in different paths and not going to be vulnerable for to be recruited by those violent extremists. And we had a lot of examples throughout history where they used the religion as a tool only to achieve their goals, to achieve the goal of politically. And here we are not justifying the using of violence, but we have to learn from what happened before. And we had just some recent examples with Northern Ireland when the agreement reached in the what called the Good Friday. The main focus of this agreement was the integration of this part or this category of people and how to provide them with equal opportunities and how to provide them with a way that we ensure that the rights of the human being is protected and the human development angle is addressed very well. And this also doesn't mean that the support in nation building directed from the foreign support or from the international community toward a certain specific category. And this is what exactly our nation, our region has suffered from. That always when it comes to the international support, it's been directed and segregated based on the backgrounds and the ethnicities and the categories of certain groups. So I think that we need to think more in innovative manner to address those political, social, economic issues domestically within the countries and help the countries in building their nations and building the nation based on citizenship, based on equal rights for everybody, and also to address it regionally. And we have to stop this collaboration which is based on category and based on sect or ethnicity, and really building the capabilities within the government to reform themselves and to fulfill their obligation toward their people. We believe that, yes, we are fractured right now in the Middle East. We have a lot of problems, a lot of differences, but those differences will never be solved in a battlefield. At the end, everybody will come to the table. Everyone right now from those different forces is trying to get the maximum leverage to come to the table and to get the better condition. Who's paying the price? The people who are paying the price. So I believe that the whole world should stand right now and urge everybody and all the players in the region to come to the table and to address their concerns around the table and really focus about our people and our region. Our region has a lot of potential, a lot of prosperity in the future if we are going to put it on the right track. We, in the state of Qatar, we are trying our best to advocate for this vision long time ago, for 20 years right now, and right now we are continuing envisioning the stability of the region by providing better life condition, by providing good education for the people. When we are thinking about the de-radicalization, we thought first of all about the young children who are out of school, and we can provide them with the equal opportunity to come back to the school. So we adopted a lot of programs, and mainly the one which is called Educate a Child, which right now is educating 7.6 million children around those vulnerable countries. Also, the other aspect is the youth empowerment and the economic empowerment for those youth, and providing them with jobs. If we are going to look at the map of the foreign terrorist fighter, we will find that most of them, they are at the age of youth, and most of them, they are educated and with a university degree. So it's better that we give them the opportunity in their homes and providing them with job rather than making them subject to radicalization. There are a lot of issues we need to look at and to address, but without the right political environment, I don't think that we are going to provide an effective solution.
Thank you very much, Minister. Minister, Tunisia is a unique experience. I mean, it's been a success story of the Arab Spring, but at the same time now there are some difficulties. How do you see the possibility, as Sheikh Al-Thani just said, of having inclusive growth and an Arab world that on that basis can be more integrated?
Well, thank you very much. I'm really delighted to be here in Davos today, and I'm grateful to my dear former colleague and friend, Brand Borghi, for this invitation. And I'm very happy to share this platform with my brother and colleague, Sheikh Mohammed. I am not going to reflect and focus on Daesh. I'm not an expert of Daesh. But I would like to reflect on the whole region and the problem of the whole region, and maybe to make propose some idea how to get out of, between brackets, the mess we are facing today in the Arab world. First of all, this is a very important strategic region. It's at the crossroad between Asia, Africa, and Europe. It has a big potential, having one of the largest reserves of energy with a big human potential. 30% of young people, they are 60% of human capitals are young people below 30. Unfortunately, the reality today that on the political front, the whole Arab world is facing a drama. 2011 revolutions and what was called Arab Spring showed that the status quo was not sustainable anymore. And the revolts which started in Tunisia spread out in just a few weeks and few months all over the Arab world. So that means there is a political problem. Political problem related to the political system, which was in the Arab world for almost 60 years, which was not able to deliver to the expectation of the peoples. That's why there is a strong will and demand from these young people, you know, to ask for reforms. The second situation, manifestation of this situation is security. We found out that there is no mechanism in the Arab world which could be an early warning system to anticipate conflicts. And whatever those conflicts happen, will be able to address them. The regional organization, the Arab League, the Arab Maghreb Union, the Gulf Council, the OEC, and other organizations, unfortunately, they didn't make any mechanism, first of all, to study the reasons for conflicts, anticipate them, and then whenever they happen, they will find the right answer to them. On the economy, we are, frankly speaking, the least integrated region in the world. Though we have a big potential, be it in the Gulf or in the West, Mashrek or in the Maghreb, unfortunately, those wealth of human being, of resources, they are not matching each other, and they are not used properly in order to generate a kind of growth, real growth in the whole region. From also the international relations with the conflict, spreading conflicts. Unfortunately, conflicts which start 50 years ago, they are growing. No one of them has been solved. So this requires from the international community to focus on this region. First of all, to help the region getting out and solving all those conflicts. Some of them, they were not created by the people of the region. Palestinian issue is one of them. You cannot continue 60 years after the the start of the Palestinian-Israeli issue to continue the same speech and saying that we are ready to help finding a solution, but in the meantime, things are getting worse. Secondly, on the security, we have to think to empower, first of all, to reform these regional organizations, empower them, and give them the opportunity to help identifying the problems and helping solving them. On the economy, there is a potential between the Gulf, the Maghreb. In the Maghreb, in Tunisia, we have enough resources. For 60 years, we invested in education. We invested in two major things, education and women liberation. That was when they ask me sometimes why Tunisia succeeded while other countries did not succeed. Because for 60 years, we were able to invest in human resources. Today, we have a problem of finding jobs to young people getting out of university. We have around 300,000 young people with master's degrees looking for jobs. Our brothers in the Gulf, as well as in the Mashrek, even in Europe, we are sure that they need such human potential. But unfortunately, there is no such a link to meet the need of of some of the Arab countries with the excess of human resources we are facing in the Maghreb. So there is an important, I think it's about time before talking to, because ISIS is a phenomenon. It came out of all these reasons. One of them, all of these reasons, maybe some others. But in order to address, I cannot believe that ISIS is over and that we won the fight against ISIS, because ISIS is an idea. Unless we reform our education system, and there is a problem in the Arab world about the education system, unless we introduce quality education to help individuals, getting the right education to be a good citizen, we are going always to fail new ISIS, or if ISIS disappeared, there was Al-Qaeda before, and then now we have ISIS, and maybe we'll be having something else later in the coming years. So first of all, let's focus on reforming our political system, introducing good governance, introducing a political process, democratic process. It takes time. In Tunisia, we are facing major problems because the democracy which you are trying to install is not delivering to the expectation of those young people who rose in 2011 asking for more freedom and dignity. We gave them more freedom. They have a free speech today, but they don't have enough dignity because they wanted to have jobs. They wanted to have a proper social life. And we cannot continue having a normal society when women are not playing the role they should play. So we have to empower women as 50% of the society, to give them the right to construct the society we are wishing to construct. These are broadly as a start, the idea which I wanted to present, and later on, if you want, we can come back to all these issues. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. You've both stressed the importance of inclusivity, inclusive growth, inclusive politics, so that people feel represented. But when one looks at the situation in various countries, see that on the concept of inclusivity, for instance, there are big differences. There are some political movements that are seen by some as the antechamber to terrorism, and by others as a way, on the contrary, to allow for the expression of Islamic values without going into terrorism. So there's a very serious difference. Not between the two of you, but in the Arab world. And so I wonder, how can one sort that? Because in Tunisia, for instance, you have had elections, you have had, at some point, you had Ennahda, and you had an agreement between Ennahda and the other side of Tunisian politics, the secular politics in Tunisia, and you've managed to work out a solution. You're now working on the economics, but that is not a position that is shared by everybody in the Arab world.
Well, I think in 2013 we are on the brink of a civil war in Tunisia. And either we go for a different way of solving our problems, or we were going to fight each other. That's why we choose to a consensual, an inclusive way, and that's why we start the national dialogue with the collaboration of major Tunisian institutions. And that national dialogue won Tunisia, the Nobel Peace Prize. We thought that Ennahda and those who